The Glenerin Inn stands in Mississauga as a tribute to our city's past. It has housed countless people looking for escape from the challenges of life, sickness, and even war. The inn now reportedly houses the spirits of those who once lived inside its grand walls. And the explanation for the hauntings may lie literally within the walls themselves. Some experts on paranormal phenomenon believe that objects and even rocks can hold on to memories and spirits associated with its history. Heritage Mississauga historian Matthew Wilkinson says that much of the material used to build the Glenerin Inn was found locally.
There were two principal. You would have had a basement dug in which the material would be brought up as building stone out of the basement. This is known as Credit Valley stone. It's found throughout the Credit River Valley. But principally where this building would have come from is simply the bank behind the valley and behind the Sawmill Creek Valley. The stone would have been harvested right from the property. Likely brought up in teams and then used as building stone on the site. But this is all local stone. It's got the gray-brown mixture to it. So anytime you see that, this is Credit Valley stone. And again, the buildings, the east-west wing is the original, and then the north-south extension, including the tower and music room, is the addition. And so you had originally what were exterior walls are now interior walls, but again built in that grand stone style. And there are maybe 5 or 6 of these types of homes that survive, all built in that era.
So, if these walls are speaking of Glenerin's grand past, are they whispering about the parties and life of luxury lived by the first owners, the Evans family?
This really is perhaps the grandest of the grand summer homes that once graced Mississauga, and perhaps the one that retains its charm the most. Still a grand house.
It's living history.
It is, and like I said, we have several that still survive of its era, all built with a beautiful Credit Valley stone and locally built. In fact, we can. It was designed by a renowned architectural firm, Mathers and Haldenberry out of Toronto, but built locally by a fellow by the name of Harry Plum. And Harry Plum is perhaps the most unknown figure of local history, but his hands are all over the city. Between him and Miles Vokes, they built principally with stone, and a lot of what they built in the 20s and 30s still stands and is celebrated today, yet the individuals who actually built them are forgotten.
And what about the girls who fled their homes in England during World War II? Are their spirits holding on to the youth spent at the Glenerin Inn?
So it's seen so many different, I guess, parts of the human experience. I mean, we've got the joyful days of the parties that the Evans family would have. It had I know the people that came here to escape World War II had been through a lot. I mean, they were bombed over there. There was problems with the U-boats. The journey over to Canada was very difficult. So you got to imagine the human impact that would have had on them, and I'm sure that would carry over to their experience here. Yes. And then, I mean, people convalescing, they're sick. I mean, there's so much that these walls have seen here.
Absolutely, and one of the fascinating parts, I mean, it's now the reception lobby or the front lobby, but this was the ballroom. And so you think this has always been a place that people have congregated for one reason or another. This has been the social aspect of the house, and you could argue that it still remains that today.
In addition to the locally harvested building materials, the Glenerin Inn is also packed with antiques, many of which are remnants of previous inhabitants, and they may retain the memories of the past.
And buildings have energy in them. This room, for example, would remember its many different facets of its life. Pictures are only one way in which a memory is conveyed.
Now, as a history buff and a paranormal enthusiast, I have to tell you that being at the Glenerin Inn is like being a kid in a candy store. It is the perfect location for any occasion that you may have, and to visit the ghosts of Mississauga. Until next time, rest in peace.